The lights inside the America's Got Talent theater were brighter than anything the young boy had ever seen in his life. For a moment, he stood frozen at the center of the stage, blinking as if he had stepped into another world. His name was Miguel Santos, a 12-year-old boy from a small coastal town in the Philippines where mornings began with roosters crowing and evenings ended with the sound of waves crashing gently against wooden fishing boats. He had never been to America before. He had never seen buildings so tall, crowds so large, or a stage so massive. Yet here he was, standing in front of millions, about to sing a song that lived deep in his heart. Miguel's journey to this moment had not been easy. Back home, life was simple but often harsh. His father had been a fisherman, leaving before sunrise and returning long after sunset, his hands cracked and rough from years of pulling nets from the sea. His mother worked 2 jobs, one at a small market stall and another cleaning houses, just to keep food on the table. Music was never a luxury in their home. There were no formal lessons, no expensive instruments, only an old radio that crackled when the signal was weak in a schoolyard where Miguel would sing during recess while other kids played. From the time he could speak clearly, Miguel sang. He sang while helping his mother cook rice, he sang while walking barefoot to school, and he sang quietly to himself when storms rattled the thin walls of their home at night. His favorite song was Lupang Hinirang, the Philippine national anthem. To Miguel, it wasn't just a song. It was a story of struggle, freedom, and hope. His grandmother had taught him the meaning of every line, telling him about a country that had fought to stand on its own feet, just like their family was trying to do. One night, after a particularly bad storm damaged many boats in their village, Miguel's father came home empty-handed. He sat silently at the small wooden table, staring at nothing. Miguel began to sing Lupang Hinirang softly. Not for an audience, not for applause, but to remind his family that dignity and hope still existed even in hard times. His father listened, tears quietly rolling down his face. That was the moment Miguel realized his voice could do something powerful. It could heal. Months later, a traveling talent scout visited a nearby town, filming local performers and sharing clips online. Miguel's teacher encouraged him to audition. Nervous and unsure, Miguel sang Lupang Hinirang in front of a small camera, his voice trembling at first, then growing stronger with every word. The video spread faster than anyone expected. People shared it not because it was perfect, but because it was honest. Comments poured in from Filipinos around the world, calling him a reminder of home. When America's Got Talent reached out, Miguel thought it was a joke. He had never even owned a passport. But with the help of donations, community support, and paperwork that felt overwhelming to his parents, Miguel boarded a plane for the first time in his life. As the plane lifted into the sky, he pressed his face against the window, wondering if his voice was strong enough for what awaited him. Now, on the AGT stage, Simon Cowell leaned forward in his chair, curious but skeptical. He had seen thousands of singers. Some were great, some were forgettable, and some were clearly unprepared. How could a child from across the world possibly surprise him? Heidi Klum smiled warmly, sensing Miguel's nervousness. Sofia Vergara whispered encouragement. Howie Mandel tilted his head, intrigued by the choice of song listed on the screen. Simon asked Miguel why he chose to sing his national anthem instead of a popular English song. Miguel took a deep breath and spoke softly but clearly. He said that Lupang Hinirang represented who he was, where he came from, and the people who believed in him even when life was hard. He said he wanted America to hear the heart of the Philippines. A murmur spread through the audience. National anthems were risky. They were emotional, political, and deeply personal. The orchestra began with a simple, gentle introduction. Miguel closed his eyes. The first note floated into the theater, pure and fragile. You could hear people shifting in their seats, leaning in. His voice was not loud, but it was steady. As he moved into the next lines, something changed. The fear in his voice disappeared, replaced by conviction. The lyrics, though unfamiliar to many in the audience, carried a weight that didn't need translation. Halfway through the song, a camera cut to Simon Cowell. His expression had softened. The usual guarded look was gone. He wasn't judging technique anymore. He was listening. The orchestra swelled, and Miguel's voice rose with it, filling the room in a way no one had expected from such a small frame. Then came the twist no one saw coming. During the final verse, Miguel's voice cracked. For a split second, it felt like everything might fall apart. The audience held its breath. But instead of stopping, Miguel took another breath and continued, stronger than before. That crack didn't weaken the performance. It made it real. It reminded everyone that this was a child carrying enormous emotion, singing not to impress but to honor. As the last note faded, silence filled the theater. No cheers. No clapping. Just silence. And then, slowly, the audience stood. One by one, people rose to their feet, applause erupting like a wave. Heidi wiped her eyes. Sophia clutched her chest. Howie nodded repeatedly, visibly moved. Simon Cowell stood up too. This was rare. Very rare. When the applause finally died down, Simon spoke. His voice was quieter than usual. He said he had heard many anthems in his life, but he had never felt one the way he felt this. He admitted that for a moment, he forgot he was on a television show. He said Miguel reminded him why music mattered. Then came another unexpected moment. Simon paused, his eyes glistening. He turned away briefly, clearly emotional. The audience gasped. Simon Cowell, known for his sharp criticism and tough exterior, was fighting tears. He said Miguel's performance wasn't just about singing. It was about pride, struggle, and hope, and that it deserved to be remembered. Miguel stood there, overwhelmed, tears running down his own face. He hadn't expected this reaction. He had only hoped to make his family proud. All 4 judges voted yes. But the biggest surprise came when the judges began discussing something quietly among themselves. The crowd buzzed with anticipation. Simon reached for the golden buzzer. The theater erupted before he even pressed it. Gold confetti rained down as Miguel dropped to his knees in disbelief. The moment went viral within hours. Clips of the performance spread across social media. News outlets in the United States and the Philippines covered the story. People who had never heard of Lupang Hinirang searched for its meaning. Filipinos around the world felt seen. Back home, Miguel's village gathered around a small television to watch the replay. His parents cried openly. His father held his mother's hand, proud in a way words couldn't express. For one night, their struggles felt lighter. In the weeks that followed, Miguel continued in the competition, facing new challenges and tougher performances. Not every song was perfect. Not every moment was easy. But he had already won something bigger than a trophy. He had shown that a voice from a small place could reach the biggest stage in the world. Even after the season ended, Miguel's life changed forever. He returned home not as a celebrity, but as a symbol of hope. He started singing at community events, raising money for schools and storm recovery efforts. He never forgot where he came from, and he never stopped singing Lupang Hinirang, because it reminded him of the night a song crossed oceans and touched hearts. And somewhere in America, Simon Cowell would later say in an interview that Miguel's audition was one of the few moments in his career that truly stayed with him, not because of perfection, but because of truth.